In high school, I was once told it really does not matter what I wrote, but only that I could cite sources to back it up. As long as my work was credible and not Wikipedia, the thoughts could go forward as mediocre. Isn't it interesting that we live in a world where we have access to more knowledge than ever before? However, we are more restricted in what we can do with it and how we can grow from it than at any point in human history. I mean, you walk into a school and students aren't being taught how to expand ideas or take them one step further, but rather to stop and back up each fact, thought, and idea with in-text citation and a well-written bibliography. Our education system is poisoned with an oversensitized view of plagiarism. We owe our amazing world of knowledge and technology to men and women who have had boldness to take ideas one step further, to take chances and explore the deep recesses of their mind. But we are using the world that they created to move into a world that assumes that all the good ideas have already been thought, and we have to keep using them and making sure that we give credit where it's due. Every time we hear anything, every time we read an article, every thought-provoking video we watch, every time we listen to the melody of a relaxing song or have a conversation with another human being, it is stored in our brain. Every moment we experience in our life, all of this knowledge is nestled in the tissues and neurons of our mind, and we love that. We celebrate people who can debate and at the turn of a dime. We celebrate those who can pass through all the levels of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. We don't demand them to show us exactly where they found their information because we understand it came from their brain. But it seems that as soon as we step into a high school or onto a college campus, our brains are no longer worth their weight in trail mix, which would be approximately around $10. If we tried to include what we learned in a paper with only our education to cite as a source, we are immediately thieves who maliciously steal work from others. We are labeled as plagiarists, or the dreaded plagiarizer, as I've heard both used. This just doesn't make sense. A student will spend nearly 2 decades in school by the time they graduate with a bachelor's degree, let alone a master's or PhD, and still the knowledge they retain isn't permitted as useful when writing a paper. We are not teaching students to learn, but recite, not to retain, but to regurgitate. We are not allowing students to think freely and openly. Students are scared to pursue any thought that may be original because they won't be able to find sources to back up their ideas. We are required to have 3 to 7 text sources. The world is beginning to move away from books and onto the threshold of new ideas that are introduced into blogs and websites. However, we are stuck using decade-old books and journal articles that may not even be directly related to our topics. With MLA formatting, we are forcing all students to jump inside this little same box, think, write, and express themselves the same way, when in all actuality, their brains may not be anything alike. We already know that there are different types of learners in our school systems. However, we require them all to act as if they are robots that we can just change the font on. We are here to learn, to question, to push the boundaries of human thought and knowledge. Much of the world we live in is structured by the constructs of the academic world. We need to redefine plagiarism or get rid of plagiarism altogether. Because in its current state, it is suffocating the creativity and exploration of our education and replacing it with fear and repetition. However, as long as we continue to question the system and find students willing to truly look into the heart of the world around them, then we may begin to see people taking risks to venture into the new and undiscovered area of thoughts and grow off the ideas of others. If we stay within the comfortable confines of our current system, we may never progress to the heights that we could reach.